What happens to people when their land is taken away from them, their spirit is crushed, and they have to be thankful for whatever rations they are being given? What happened to us as a people? Where do we get off track? As we are entering into the solar eclipse of October 25th and the Scorpio energy, the moon is in Scorpio, and that's also my moon sign. And I have come to the realization that not only am I a highly sensitive person, starseed, but I'm highly empathic. And I'm so empathic that I drain grief, pain, and suffering from other people that I interact with, oftentimes unintentionally and unknowingly. Because for me as a child, that was how I kept myself safe, by being hyper vigilant and attached to every human being within my circumference to make sure that I was safe. Now I'm having to learn how to detach. And it has been so painful for me because I'm saddened by the state of our communities. We have allowed religion to divide us. The school system has destroyed us. Many of us didn't learn anything positive about Black and brown people until we got older and actually went looking for the information. And a lot of what we was taught was wrong. It's just so much on so many levels. And I just want to let you know that if you are the person who took the soul contract to clear a lot of different traumas within your family, to be able to transcend them, you may be feeling more emotional now than you ever have before. And I want to say to you that that's okay. A lot of us have brain developmental issues that was caused by repetitive traumatic events. A lot of us were born to parents and caregivers who had their own mental health issues. Drug addiction and alcoholism. I mean, when the crack babies grow up, what happens to them? How did that condition them? How did that affect them? How did rap affect us once it was weaponized? How did the wars and the guns and the steel being delivered to our communities, how did that affect us? How did the fluoride in the water affect our ability to conduct empathy through our body? How was our brain development? How did this trauma affect the development of the brain? If we don't know our spiritual anatomy, how can we do anything other than hurt one another because we're hurting and we don't know how to heal it? Some of us grew up in conditions that where most people would say it sounds like a horror film, but that was your life. That was your childhood. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the fact that as a Black man, a Black woman, anytime in interaction with a police officer, you could end up the next viral video? How do you cope with that? And as a Black woman in America, having an illness that causes pain, I have been treated so bad. There are no words that can even conceptualize the immense amount of mistreatment that I've received. And I almost feel as if police officers to Black men are how physicians have been to women. And not saying they're all bad, but you can look up the statistics for yourself at what happens to us when we have babies in hospitals in comparison to other races. This person with the white coat has a sign of Kundalini energy on his coat. Nobody really asks questions, but we trusted them. And it was the perfect setup for those that hate humanity to be able to live among us, and we not be able to identify who the true enemy is. And when you can't identify the true enemy, and when you can't pinpoint the origins of hatred on a subconscious, unconscious level, the EU melanin inside of you, the dark matter inside of you almost becomes a vacuum and is sucking, pulling energy because it's just trying to find a way to close the gaping hole inside of you. of not feeling enough, of scarcity, of suffering, of pain, of just not feeling worthy to be loved, feeling like you fuck up more than you get it right. I get it. And I am in a space where I cry not just for me, but for my people. And I didn't know the rules of the game for being an empath or a highly sensitive person. So that allowed me to be in a position where I attract people who also don't know how to feel the gaping hole inside themselves. And because my wounded child archetype is the rescuer, I will automatically absorb any pain, grief, and suffering that they were experiencing into myself, but I didn't have anybody to teach me how to release it. And this is why I stopped doing readings for a long period of time, because I needed to be able to revitalize myself. And I don't know if people really know what it takes to align with somebody's spiritual self outside of time and space to gather information that would be useful for them. And it did put me in a severely broken space. The stories that I have heard gave me nightmares. My heart ached. And I grieved even once the reading was over. And there is nobody in my family that I know of, my blood relatives, who could assist me with this. So I was all on my own. But I was so committed to being able to help other people see that you can transcend your trauma and you can go into your shadows and actually activate superpowers. And I forgot to take care of myself. Because as a child, taking care of myself was something that was threatening to those who were raising me. So I had to focus on making sure that the people who were raising me were happy, fed, had what they needed, what they wanted, whatever it was. And as a survivor of trauma and narcissistic abuse, when we're traumatized and we don't know how to address it, we raise traumatized children. And now that I have a grandson, I can see the connections in the lineage. I can feel the unconscious, subconscious hatred that men have towards black women. And a lot of times it didn't start with the woman he's with or the woman he was with, but it started with his own mother. Sometimes before he even came out of the womb, he was imprinted with this energy that it's not safe to be connected with the feminine in a sacred way. I feel it. I feel the pain that women feel, and they want to open up and connect, but they're afraid to. So they shut down their feeling centers. Our ability to feel empathy has been severely severed by so many different things we experienced growing up. So for anybody and everybody who were diagnosed with ADHD and had to take Ritalin and many other things in the classroom, all of these things, there was never really a war on drugs. The drugs was the war on us. And in the Dark Alliance, there's so much information out there right now where you all can go and do your own research and see for yourself that what Campson has been saying, as outlandish as some of it sounds, it is true. So with this solar eclipse, October 24th, this Scorpio energy, this is pure transformation. Oya and Medusa has been coming to me and telling me I needed to find a way to process my anger and my rage and my pain. Because like most women, because we have a womb space, we push that pain down into the womb because we don't have time to focus on our pain. We got to pay our bills. We don't have time to do what we thoroughly enjoy doing because maybe we're working a 9 to 5 just to pay our bills. Some of us are making a lot of money, but are disconnected from our true self, severed from spirit, and you feel broken. I know things are going to improve significantly for those who stop and just take a moment with your hand on your heart and proclaim, I am of a divine lineage. Despite the dysfunction I see, I am of divine lineage. Despite the dysfunction that I've seen. I tell myself this every day. And I have to remind myself every night. And I don't think I am alone. I don't know what it's going to take for us to get this lesson. But y'all, hatred has been engineered deep down inside of us, and it operates unconsciously. And if you have not learned to love your own self first, your children and anybody else in your circle of influence will become a source of energy for you to feed. And if you have not learned about your spiritual anatomy, you will have no clue that you are doing this. So many people talk about EU melanin and neuromelanin and being a special conductor, and it's powerful and it absorbs energy, and black is the most absorptive color on the planet. That's all true. But let me ask you this question. If that is true, what have we absorbed on a collective level? And what is it during this time are we being called to release that no longer serves us? You are of divine lineage. Sarah La Kali is Sarah La Black, and she's a goddess of divine lineage. She was a very, very, very powerful prophetess. And she showed up today to remind me, and I'm reminding you, that you are the Holy Grail. And the Holy Grail is you. Divine ones walk beside you and within you. Trust that. And when it feels like you can't go no lower, know that in that space at rock bottom, your spiritual team that incarnated with you to support you, they are already there at rock bottom before you get there, so that they can assist you in your come up. And I just want to remind you, you're not alone. Everybody not hating you like it may feel. When you grew up as a child feeling like everything that you did pissed people off, it can be easy to fall into the pattern of everybody hates me, everybody is judging me. And I just want you to remember, this is one of the impacts of having traumatic events repeated over and over again, which is the case for a lot of us. So this is a great time to honor your spirit guides, honor your ancestors in whatever way you can, nourishing your ancestral altar or your shrine, or maybe starting one, and just realizing that you are of divine lineage. And all ancestors, these are people we feel a strong resonance with. They can be blood related, but they don't have to be. They can be water related. You can call on the spirit of the Dogon tribe. You can call on the spirit of Kwedu Motwa, who taught us so many things. You can call on the spirit of Dr. Sabi to help you with your healing. Like, it doesn't always have to be someone from your bloodline that you spiritually connect with. And the reason that a lot of us say that we are our sisters and brothers keepers, and that has nothing to do with relatives, that term is about being able to hold space with soul tribe members, with people you feel a resonance with, not out of obligation. Because as families, most of us grew up feeling obligated to keep things in the family going smoothly and to take care of the people who did not know how to take care of themselves because of whatever trauma they experienced. And I'm telling you, science has finally caught up to spirituality. We hold at least 14 generations within us. And the eggs that were inside of your grandmother and your mother to you are the same eggs that's inside of you as a woman. Think about that. Those eggs are there from birth. And I know that a lot of us don't know where to begin or where to go, but I just want to remind you that if you have to cry, if you have to rage, if you have to punch pillows, if you have to scream out in the middle of the woods, whatever it is, as long as you just keep yourself safe, but let it out. We can't hold it in no more. We can't be strong black women no more. And that's all that we are. That was just another ploy to cause us to not be seen as someone who deserves support and love and help. And in our communities, the weaponization of music was so detrimental. So whatever religion did not teach you, music taught you. And this is the engineering of hatred. The school system, public school to pipeline, hatred. We could go on and on. Project Alimentarius. Hatred being put into our gut with the food. So the salt water from the eyes of Sibyls, Mama Wata's, prophetess, shamans, high priestess, healers, even if you have not yet activated those gifts, just know that you are clearing and you are purging, and that the waters, Wata, the matter of being from which all life came, because in the beginning there was darkness, but darkness hovered above water. I told y'all this year was the number of 6, the primordial waters of noon and noonette. This is where we are. And as difficult as it may be, I want to encourage you to keep going, because your transformational story is just now beginning. This is the new chapter. This is the new you. Don't give up. Love you. And the more that you stop and love you and take care of you, the more you will attract people who will have the exact same love for you, because they have it for themselves first. So let's no longer allow our ignorance to be weaponized to divide us. We don't have to believe in the same things. We don't have to call the Creator the same thing. We don't have to eat the same thing, wear the same thing, listen to the same thing. All of that was the engineering of hatred and division of some of the most powerful people on the planet. And I believe on every continent, darker races, the reason why that they are racially treated wrong, and so many disparities within medical communities. There are many parts to this, but one main part is we absorb a lot of energy, and most of that has been negative energy because we did not know anything about our subtle body, spiritual anatomy, our chakras. We just didn't know. We didn't know about the subconscious mind, that creates 95% of what you see in your life, and only 5% of the conscious mind is what's creating what you see in your life. We didn't know. Forgive yourself for not knowing. Forgive yourself for your ignorance. Forgive yourself for the judgment of other people. Forgive yourself for those of you who maybe were religious and you're not anymore. You must forgive yourself for the people that you were teaching things to that you didn't know would create an inability to ever feel enough. Because if you spend every single day trying to gain love from a God who's perfect, You're definitely going to have some issues with not feeling enough behind that if you're not living up to the standard that was placed in front of you. And the standards that are in most monotheistic religions are actually, in my humble opinion, impossible. And this right here sets us up to have a disconnect from spirit source, the creator. And we begin to feel bad and guilty about loving ourselves and taking the time to love ourselves, because for so long we were martyrs, because we thought that's what we were supposed to be. For so long we obeyed the laws of the land, even if they were unjust, until Martin Luther King came along and said, wait a minute, but laws are unjust, we shouldn't obey them. It's ironic that he was a preacher, but even as a preacher, he realized that obeying unjust laws made no sense, and he was willing to put his life on the line to protest. So I just want to say to you, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you believe in, if you believe in love, and if you believe that you have been chosen to transcend trauma, I want to say to you, thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you feel the same way about you. And if you don't, that's okay too. Spiritual awakening is not always cute. Most of the time it's painful. But it's a pain that you know is going to benefit you later. We have chakra camps, and they're $4 right now to begin the journey of healing the inner child. Check that out. See if it resonates for you. We marked it down to $4 to hold the energy of the number 4, which was the number that awakened so many of us. And in this sacred space, it didn't matter how much money it took to create this space, how much time, energy, and effort it took to create this space. I was determined to do it, no matter what was going on with me. So as I am regaining strength and ability to do things that I once could do, my commitment to my soul's mission, no matter how much I want to give up sometimes, I keep going. Because I know, based on my Atmakarika, that's why I'm here. To assist souls ready to transcend trauma, to alleviate suffering, and to make the things happening within and without make some sense so that you can use it to grow. May your third eye has just been kissed. Peace, power, Ashe, one love.